We are live.
What's up, everybody? This is StoryHive on Location in Vancouver with Vancity Beats, Eats, and more! Yes! Oh, today on the show, we're excited to welcome Sophia Laurio, also known as Sosa, a Filipina multidisciplinary artist and powerhouse storyteller through movement. Based here on the unceded lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations, Sophia's artistry spans hip-hop, house, Afro-Dancehall, Contemporary, and more, with performances on major stages like World of Dance, RedBull Dance Your Style, and the Manila Fringe. She's also a key member of Floor Monarch's crew, Bon Bon. Beyond the stage, she's a musician and the founder of Barangay Project Society, a grassroots nonprofit uplifting BIPOC artists through mentorship and dance events. Y'all give it up for Sosa.
Hi.
The live audience goes wild. AKA Sean Kim behind the camera.
Word.
Yo, thank you for being on the show today.
Of course.
How are you? What's going on?
I'm good. A lot is going on. I
Yeah.
just got back from Japan.
Yes, we'll get into that.
I've been teaching every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to an event today because today's my first day off.
Yes. Shout outs to Ladies First.
Ladies first, happening tonight. Make sure you show up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm excited to have Sophia here. She is somebody who I have seen within the dance community here in Vancouver since I pretty much moved back. You know, going to attend battles and events, I have very distinct memories of seeing you there, always repping yourself, always repping a very raw style. You know,
Wow.
like you don't, something that is notable for me about you is that you like don't hold back, you know, from whoever is in front of you. And really just like also through all these explorations of dance styles that I've seen you study and evolve through, like to see all of that show up every time. And so there's like mad respect on my end in regards to that like you have consistently grown, evolved, and that you put that on the dance floor. And now you're also in a place where I'm seeing you give that back and teach that to the next generation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, oh my God, so beautiful.
Just gotta uplift my fellow Filipinas up in here, you know? So this is dope because this show has been building an archive now from 2023 to 2025. You are our 91st interview. I know, it's crazy to think that we have that much, but like for me, what excites me is that we actually have this documentation of stories from creatives in Vancity, whether it's in music, dance, art, food. And so it's your turn. And we actually get to know a bit more about you. And you know, like, I don't even know, like, where is it that you grew up and where you came from and how creativity in your upbringing shaped who sits in front of us today?
You know what? I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I just started meditating, like, as a practice.
We love it.
And often what comes about is just, you know, gratitude towards where I really came from. And I feel like when I was growing up, I used to talk about it so much because it was so different from, like, you know, when I moved here, it was such a culture shock. But I was born and raised in Manila, Philippines. And specifically, I came from the squatter areas where, and if you don't know what squatter means, it's basically like where like people settle and maybe they build the houses there, but they're not supposed to.
Yeah, you squat. Asian squat.
Yeah, but now we do because
Yeah.
we purchased the land.
Yes.
So
Is this Tondo, Manila, or where?
we're in Las Piñas,
Okay.
Zapote.
Okay.
To my Las Piñas Tramo people. what's up?
Yes.
I was born and raised there up until I was 12. My mom, she moved to Canada when I was 8. So I actually didn't have her for like 5 years of my life. And it was my grandparents, my aunt, my uncle, and just like 7 of us cousins in one single home. And I didn't see my mom until I was 12 when she finally got her PR. And then she was able to sponsor us from the Philippines, me and my sister, to Canada. And then that's kind of how, actually, when my like pre-professional dance journey started. But in the Philippines, like I was always like singing and dancing, and like I I was that kid in the family that like the aunts would come over and then they would bribe me like 5 pesos. And that's a lot to me as a kid, you know? Because like 1 peso can buy you like a pop or like, no, not even a pop, like maybe like candies and stuff like that. So they would give me like 5 pesos and I was like, oh my God, I can buy so many candies with this. Yes. And they would just be like, dance for them or sing for them. And I was like whipping out Celine Dion, like Queen. I would sing all the high belting songs when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Ballads, like powerhouses. Yeah. And so I actually used to think I was going to be a singer. Yeah. Like I would be the singer at the high school graduation, like leading like the national, like the anthem and everything. And then when I came to Canada, I was more of a dancer because of the language barrier.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, it's just in our blood, y'all. Like, you see it everywhere on TV, like on the streets. It'd be like love, basketball, music, dance. Like, that is the life.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And so then you came here when you were 12. Where did you grow up here?
In Surrey.
Okay.
In Wally. I was a Wally kid.
Shout outs to Surrey.
Yeah.
So many good dancers came out of there.
Yes. Actually, I'm still friends with them for like 15 years or over. I grew up in Wally. I went to Kwantlen Park Secondary. And it was a very, very hard life. Just because I like the language, the culture of it all, like the social aspect of the difference in Western culture versus like where I grew up.
What did you notice?
Like people weren't very upfront with their feelings and their opinions. I think where I grew up in the Philippines, it was very upfront. It was very like in your face. It was very like if I had a problem with you, I would confront it right away and would talk it out right now. And then back then it was more like for example, like I had this one situation where I said something and it wasn't even anything bad. It was just like a observation. And then this kid like told another kid, and that was new to me because we don't do that in the Philippines. Like we don't like
really? Well, where do you think the term chismis come from?
That's true. But maybe the people I was hanging out with in the Philippines, they were kind of gangsters, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, so I think everything was upfront. Everything was
honest,
confrontational and honest, I guess. So I was so confused as a kid. I was like, why did I do that? Like I literally was genuinely confused. I was like, why would you say that? I thought you were my friend. Like that was crazy to me. And even like being good at something was like weird. Like I remember being just like, you know, singing was like, it wasn't a big deal until it was a big deal here. Like, oh, like, I don't know, they just call you a show off or like even in like the first dance class, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really, really good at this. And people was like, oh, she's just a show off or she likes to show off. And I was like, what?
Aww.
No, it was wild. It was wild.
Oh my gosh, I'm like hugging young Sosa from back then because I get it. Like these cultural differences that you don't realize become such a like barrier in a way.
Yeah, I'm like, just because you can't do it. Like,
or that like one thing that you feel is so normalized and pure as expression is then interpreted as something else. Like also growing up Filipino, also born in Manila, like I remember because we hug and kiss our titos and titas, right? Like it's a very also affectionate culture and expressive culture. And so I remember the first time I tried to do that with like my friend's Chinese parents, and the stiffness I got, and then I was like, oh no, what did I just do? And it was the first time I felt like I did something really wrong. All my life that is like a sign of respect.
Yeah,
to
you're
elders.
like, what?
Yeah, exactly. And then I had to like learn to adjust. Like there's a code switching that needs to happen because we all live here and a bunch of us are from different cultures.
Yeah.
You know?
Code switching is real. Even like speaking of that, like I remember people like I would say, because like all my English, most of it I learned from movies. And like in the Philippines, because it was also colonized by Americans,
Yep.
that we were infiltrated a lot by like American pop culture. And so like I remember watching like Are We There Yet with Ice Cube,
Yeah.
and like White Chicks with the brothers, Wayan Brothers.
Wayan Brothers, yeah.
I watched White Chicks like 500 times probably in my lifetime or more. Like I can I can quote every line in that movie.
Making my way downtown, walking past.
Like Yo Mama jokes.
Oh my
I
gosh.
performed that so many times.
Yeah.
No, that's how I learned my English. And so, but again, I'm Filipino, so like I speak Tagalog fluently. So certain words I would mispronounce. And I would be made fun of like crazy. And it honestly, it made me feel so small. Like it made me not want to speak. And it's wild when, like, growing up my whole childhood, I've always been a confident person. Like nobody can tell me nothing. Like I'm me, and I was confidently me.
Yeah.
And so when that type of thing was happening with language, I was like, oh, nah. And so I think that's why I leaned so hard on dance, because I was like, you know what? I may not be able to speak, you know, the language as good as you do, but I'm still more talented, you know? And I kind of like, I clapped back with my talent. I was like, I'm going to do this. And next thing I knew, I became like, I came from, you know, Sophia the fob.
Fresh off the boat, even though we came on a plane.
To Sophia the dancer. And then everybody respected me because like they were like, wow, like you're amazing, wow, you're performing. And to like, and again going back to like gratitude thing, I was like, man, like I used to be the girl from the squatter area who, you know, mispronounces certain English words, and I still do now. And to like being admired and receiving applause and receiving so much love to something that I do authentically me. And I like that every time. Like if I think about it hard enough, like it makes me cry because I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not supposed to make it and I made it and then some. And so, yeah.
Yes,
Right? Isn't that crazy? I was like, my mom is a single mom. She moved here in her like 30s.
And worked hard
In a culture she barely knew, language that she had to get used to.
A whole new system to navigate.
A whole new system with 2 daughters that are like in their teenage rebellious, highest attitude years.
Oh my gosh.
And then to now, you know, where I'm like, I'm in peace. I love it. I love it so much.
We like this era. We like this era for you.
I do. My soft girl era is everything.
I would love to know, like, you mentioned dance, but do you recall, like, a specific moment or a series of moments that led to you really embracing yourself, especially coming up against, like these cultural barriers and these perceived setbacks?
Yeah. We had a field trip that was supposed to be at Harbor Dance Center. It was actually Eric Malapad's class.
Nice.
And I remember I was like 15 or something, and I was talking to my uncle, who is my uncle by marriage, like from my aunt. And I remember telling him, I was like, yeah, we had this field trip, you know, and it's supposed to be this dance class at this dance studio downtown. And he was like, are you gonna go? And I was like, oh, I don't know anyone. Like that's what Gemini in me, like antisocial. Like nobody talk to me, please. Nobody make conversation with me.
Yeah.
He's like, you should go. Like you're gonna regret it if you don't go. And so I ended up going, and that was my very, very first like studio dance class at 15, maybe 14 actually.
Because prior to that, where was dance for you then?
Like high school, and it's like the drama teacher.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like a self-study type of like elective class.
Okay.
And I was like the best one there.
Yeah.
So it felt like I was the one guiding the class. So it didn't really count.
Right.
But that was the first official like somebody who was like a professional dancer teaching a class, and I'm like surrounded by people who are there by choice. You know what I mean? And I loved it. It was the best day of my life. I was like, oh my God, I'm really, really good at this. I'm going to lean into this so hardcore.
Was he teaching hip-hop?
Yeah, he taught like a hip-hop choreography.
Okay.
Yeah. To like Justin Timberlake song. I can't remember the song, but...
Oh my God.
And I also took Jen O's class.
Yes.
I think she taught us something like, hey, like a remix of like, hey, big spender.
Oh, nice.
It was really cool. And ever since then, I just never stopped. I just leaned so hard into it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So, okay, you just mentioned a few of your earliest teachers. Like, who else were significant in introducing you to the culture or the different dance cultures that you've now learned and participated in?
The most significant person would probably be Brazilian Puerto Rican woman named Angela Lowndes. I hope that she gets to see this one day.
Oh my gosh.
Angela
Shout
Lowndes
outs.
is probably my dance mom. I remember being 14, around the same age. She came to my school. She was like a guest teacher for the dance elective that I was in. And she took notice of me, and she invited me to be a part of this all-female dance group called Volume 1.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember saying no to her because I said, I can't afford it. And it was like probably like $150 a month or something. Yeah. But at the time, it seemed a lot. I was 14 years old. I didn't got no job. Like, my mom's a single mom.
That's a lot.
Yeah, my mom was a single mom. She's already like...
Stretched thin.
Yeah, she's already like stretched herself thin for her 2 daughters. And then like having a house. And at the time, like my grandparents was also living with us. So there was just a lot. And she's also supporting still family back home. So I couldn't bring myself to like... I told Angela, I was like... I can't afford this. Like, my mom will never pay for this. And, you know, I said no twice, I think. And then eventually she was like, you know what? Write me a letter of why you deserve to be in this group, and I'll give you a free scholarship.
Wow.
And I remember writing the letter. I was crying so much.
Oh, what did you write?
I was like, I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to prove to you that I deserve this opportunity. I will prove you that I'm the best. I'm going to make your time so worth it. Aww. And which honestly was the catalyst for me to start Barangay Project. Because somebody took a chance on me, and I was like, I want to do that too for people. And like, yeah, and honestly, like, I never paid for... I was with her for like 5 years, I think, and I never paid once.
Wow, she really invested in you.
The other members didn't know I was not paying. They thought I was just like a regular schmegular, like, you know, paying student. But yeah, nobody knew, and we kept it a secret because like she didn't want it to be like, well, why did she get to, you know? So I was working extra hard to make it, at least to make her feel like, you know, you didn't make a wrong decision. Like, like place your bet on me, girl.
Yes. And she did.
And now here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, shout outs to Ange.
No, yo, I love you so much. I owe you my life. Honestly, I'll give you my kidney if you need it. For real.
It's on record.
Yeah, it's on record.
On record.
All my kidney, my liver's yours, girl. Yeah.
I remember Ange. She was actually... I worked with her and Kim Sato when I first moved back to Vancity, and they were doing urban alchemy and soldiers.
Yes.
And I was doing some admin work stuff with them.
Wow.
But that was like how I first met her, and I agree with you. And slash, I think I might have also seen her in like my high school network because they were doing that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Diana David, if you remember her, she also did that. Like, I met her when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting and beautiful to like actually hear this story now, because you really see how those moments were such like game changers for a young individual.
And she introduced me to everybody. Like, without Angela Lowndes, I wouldn't have known N.O.N. I wouldn't have known Diana David. I would not have known about Carlina Bridge, Kim Sato, like Taya Wild, like all of the very, very core people that were a part of Vancouver street dance, or even just dance community, period.
That's
like,
true.
I would not have known them without this key person in my life. And so, shout outs to Angela Lowndes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's into martial arts now, I think.
Really?
And her daughter. Yeah, it's pretty cute.
I love that. That's also like a childhood dream of mine. Like, I always wish I was like the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Maybe in a past life, I feel like that could have been me. Because, like, my kicks are crazy. Like, people, every time when they do them, they're like, whoa. And I'm like, I know,
kicks
right?
is crazy. It's wild. I love it.
That's a secret. If you're lucky, you'll feel the air from my foot on your
kicks
nose.
It's crazy. That needs to be on a shirt.
Like yours?
Yeah.
Okay, can we just talk about Sosa's shirt for a second?
Kim.
These are
Photograph.
all Sean Kim's photographs. But, like, where did you get the shirt made? Who designed it?
I designed it.
Love it.
I also love graphic design.
Yes.
I am secretly narcissist.
Secretly, but not secretly anymore.
Funny story. This was supposed to be a gift for my boyfriend.
Yeah.
But I got the size too small, so I was like, it's mine.
Does he have a version, though?
Yeah, I made him a new one.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, I made this, and I just got it printed.
I also
basically.
love that it's like, you're going to rep me whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Any styles.
I was like, if anyone is going to be on your shirt, it's my face, okay? So.
Not Aaliyah, not Sade.
No.
Not Mariah.
Yeah.
Sosa.
No, I love it, because some of my friends got so inspired. They're like,
I want
and
one.
they let me know. They were like, just so you know, I'm going to do the same idea. I was like, you work, girl, get it.
I'm going to just ask you to make me one
Yeah.
of myself.
Yes.
I love that it's like, who started this trend? I mean, I guess it's a throwback to what shirts used to look like, but designed back in like the 90s, no? But then now it's just like maximalist where people put even more photos.
Yeah, well, for me, when I first had this idea, my guilty pleasure is watching the Kardashians.
Yeah.
And Kylie Jenner kept printing shirts of herself. And I was like, I love that. And she's a Leo, you know? That's something a Leo would do.
It's so true.
And I was like, you know what? If she can do it, I'll do it too. I'm like, if she's repping herself, why am I not repping myself?
We should all rep ourselves.
Why
we should all bet
not?
on ourselves. That should be the person you have on the highest on your list.
I don't need a person already famous repped on my shirt. I'm like, I need more of myself.
That's it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Barangay Project, switching topics. Oh man, so good. You really are gonna make me a shirt. We're gonna talk about it. After the show. Okay. How did Barangay Project start? What does it mean? Tell us the origin story.
Barangay Project. Before I met Angela Lowndes, I watched a movie called Honey with Jessica
Let's
Alba.
talk about Jessica Alba.
First of all, I love that queen.
Yeah. Isn't she part Filipina?
What? I have no idea. I don't know.
Sean,
I just thought
look it up. Look it up.
I thought she's just Latina.
Someone on the internet watching. Look it up.
I love her.
I had hella
so
friends
much.
in that movie. They filmed that in Toronto. Fly Lady Di was in that movie.
Wait, Fly Lady Di was in that.
Yeah,
I also
she
love.
danced.
Also, shout outs. I love Fly Lady
Me
Lady
too,
Di. I
forever
love her.
and
She's
always.
amazing. She's so funny.
Look her up on Instagram if you want to know more about our culture and the era of Tita that are our parents that is fading out. They're fading out.
Also, side note, when I was teaching for SFU, because I teach hip hop at SFU,
Simon Fraser University, for anyone who
School
doesn't
for the
know.
Contemporary Arts, period. They were asking me like if I needed any materials, and I said, yeah, I want to get this Oxford book of hip hop. And they gave me a copy. It's like a really expensive book, but they gave me a copy. And Fly Lady Di was one of the contributors in that book. And I was so, my Filipina pride, I was like, yes, queen, you work. Yeah, she was one of, her name is in it. Like, yeah.
Fly Lady Di, DJ, painter, dancer,
Comedian.
teacher, comedian, does it all.
Does it all. Also, great sense of fashion, period. No, I watched Honey.
Okay.
And in that movie, you know how she like was passionate about like helping the street kids, and she opened up this nonprofit. So that was actually the original seed planted in my head. When I watched that movie, I was probably 8-9 years old, and I was like, that's gonna be me one day. Fast forward, I moved out of the Philippines. I didn't come home for 5 years. So I came back, I was 18 years old. I was at Jollibee with my cousin.
Which is like our KFC or Church's Chicken.
But like,
They have spaghetti, they have chicken,
Yes.
they have rice.
yes, way more diverse. But we were at Jollibee, and it was like a glass window. We were sitting at a table against it, and there was these street kids, like half naked, they were like having a dance battle. And I was like, why are they doing that? They were having a dance battle because they were trying to impress me. And I guess like, what I took from it was like, are they trying to get my attention to give them something? Anyways, long story short, I ended up buying them food. But in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so lucky. And like, here they are, like, with nothing, like literally nothing. And somehow they found a way to like use dance to make themselves smile, make myself smile, entertain me and themselves, and help themselves get food. And I just like needed to give more. I feel like I was like, no, like, this is insane. Like, I need to do something about this. But I don't live in the Philippines, so I don't have a lot of access into how I could do that. So I was like, whatever, I'm gonna start it anyways. I named it Barangay because I'm from Barangay Tramo. And Barangay means village. I was having a conversation with one of my best friends, Simran Satcher.
Shout outs to Simsies.
We were talking about, you know, I think we were talking about patriarchy, honestly. but we were talking about how, you know, it takes a village to really uplift and to be progressive and to create changes, and that you can't do it on your own. And that to me is enough of like inspiration to be like, yeah, it takes a village, and I want to create a village. And Barangay came from like, you know, me trying to create my own tribe, my own village where I feel like I belong, and it's all people of color are uplifted and championed and prioritized and given access to and thought about, not an afterthought, but prioritized as a thought. That I will primarily target this audience to help and support and uplift, and not just like a, hey, maybe we should have a couple people of color in here, you know? So I wanted to create a village, and I wanted it to be my language, because for so long I was made fun of for sounding like me. And so my mission was, everyone is going to learn how to say this word. And that was my way of reclaiming my little self and being ashamed of, because there was a time when I was a kid where I, like, sounding whitewashed, like when people tell me like, oh, like your English is so good, that was like music to my ears. And like the process of decolonizing myself was like decades long. Like hearing whitewash was like such a compliment to me, that when I did Barangay Project, I was like, no, all of you are gonna learn how to say this properly. It's not barangay, it's barangay. And project, because, you know, project is something that is ongoing. It's never finished. And to me, Barangay Project, it's never going to be done. It's always going to be ongoing. We're always going to be evolving. And it's never going to stop. There's never going to be finite or a ceiling to it. And so that's kind of what Barangay Project means to me, that we're always constantly building a village, building community, building dreams, building hope, building new beliefs, building new systems.
Reclaiming ourselves.
And
having pride. We all come from different places.
So that's the origin of Barangay Project.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I also like the moment that you started talking about the street kids, you know, like, that's a really hard and difficult thing to see. If you've never traveled to places where like poverty is a different reality. You know, and I've had it. I honestly got really emotional because I was thinking about my mom. And she is one of the older she's of 8 kids. She's one of the older ones, and when she was younger, she was taken to Manila from the province, Panay. We were from Visayas, right? And she had to go and help her mom, and was working on the street selling cigarettes and candies for pesos, you know? And like that, like, just no child, you know, you just don't want a child to have to go through that. Like, you just want to, at least when I think about it, like, I just want to cultivate like an environment and a space where kids could really just express themselves creatively and have the freedom to explore all their creative expressions.
Yeah, and that's why now, like, I want to shout out to another organization based in Makati, Philippines. They're called the Tiny Blessings Foundation, which is a small nonprofit organization in the Philippines. I actually support one of the kids there, but they basically help street kids in severe poverty situations, and they provide them with education, like healthcare, food, even like the parents of these kids, like to like help them rehabilitate if they have like, you know, drug abuse problems, like like, so they're such an important organization, and I just want to spread light. I always shout them out in my stories because when I watch their things, I just can't believe it. Like it honestly, it stuns me every time of just like how privileged like here is, and like the difference. It's like a whole nother universe out there really that we don't even think about, and what a privilege to never have to think about it. So yeah,
shout outs to Tiny Blessings.
Tiny Blessings.
So how is Barangay Project organized or like structured right now?
Barangay Project is ran by me and my co-director Josh Cameron, my best friend of like 15 years and counting. It's run by me and him, and then in support we have our support system, which is basically floor monarchs. And the students of Barangay Project, like, they always come back on, and like they're either as volunteers or they assist classes here and there, but it's still a fairly new, like, small organization that's like ran by 2 or 3 people. And that's like, I'm talking about like writing grants, designing programs, executing programs, which most of the time too, like, it's just the 4 of us. Like, it would be like, or 5, you know, like depending on availability, but it's just basically like me, Jamin Cameron, Simran Satcher, Sharon Lee, Severin, and then all the other guest teachers that I bring in, which is like Vancouver street dance community. So
I guess I was meaning more like the program itself, like what are some of the programs you've done, and, or even about the Move Festival.
Wow, you know, Barangay Project is turning 5 years old this year. Ooh. How insane.
Yes, kindergarten.
Yeah, no, it's so wild because I started in 2020, and 2020
was a crazy time.
To be starting a nonprofit. 2020 was also the year I quit my full-time job because I was a server for like over a decade, and I did that. I was working 2 or 3 jobs before I became a full-time artist and took a full deep dive, and like, you know what, I'm gonna bet on myself 100%. And I started my nonprofit, and at first it started as like a free Zoom classes to get everybody out of depression from this pandemic.
Thank God.
So that's how it started, and then I started teaching like free classes at Robson Square, and I didn't even have funding then. I was just trying to build my resume of like the things that I was doing for the community, and then eventually I learned how to do grant writing, which was a separate traumatizing experience by itself. If you're like ESL,
it was a language to learn. It's a whole other language to learn.
Grant writing was a big part of my decolonization.
Tell us, what does that mean?
Writing grants, especially answering questions, is very, very difficult in ways that there's certain things that I just didn't know how to describe, because I didn't have enough vocabulary, like corporate vocabulary, if you know what I mean.
Or academic
vocabulary
like,
for example, like saying things like, I want to put this funding towards this, versus saying, I will allocate these funds. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, like basic administration languages that I had to learn. That to me was like so triggering. Because I was like, well, why can't I just say it like this? Why do I have to say it in these like fancy words
that like switching
that
yet
means
again
literally means the same thing? Why is this respected more than this? Like, it's the same thing. And that took a lot of like swallowing my pride, that I was like, you know what, if I am going to succeed in this, I have to infiltrate systems. And for me to infiltrate systems, I have to be a chameleon. I have to code switch.
I have to play the game.
I have to play the game to be a part of the game.
In order to start to shift and change the game.
Exactly. And so once I unlocked that, funds started coming. They started trusting me. And then I started with high schools. I worked with North Surrey Secondary like twice. I love them. I love the students that come out of North Surrey. Very, very hardworking, focused, very well-behaved kids. I started working with New West Secondary. And then after that, I started getting more and more schools, private schools, working at SFU. I still get contracted with SFU here and there, because hip-hop course in the School of Contemporary Arts is still very sessional, which I think should be permanent, because contemporary means current, and there's nothing more current than hip-hop.
Yes.
So I hope that it becomes something permanent as like a course. So that, and then I started doing like summer camps, like Each One Teach One programs, where I ran it at the Atelier 254. Also shout outs to Nancy. And
Nancy
Sound
Lee.
Chapel.
Chapel Sound.
Chapel Sound, sorry. Chapel Sound and Nancy Lee have been a very, very key support for Barangay Project. They have provided me with space whenever space was not available. Like, Nancy was always there to help me, like, provide like letter of support so that my applications can become stronger. Also shout outs to Koe Rasga, ran by Alvin. They would, you know, support me with donations and stuff like that. Arthur Tiohanko would always be there to like connect me with schools in Surrey, always putting a good word behind my name. So yeah, many programs. And then from, you know, because like my goal initially was like, I want to spread all of this knowledge that I have about street dance and why it's helped me become who I am today. And then from there, I was like, you know what? I want to bring party back. And so I started Move Together Dance Festival, which became an annual festival that, yeah, we still had battles, but it was really about teaching people how to party and dance with each other and dance together.
Which I am so grateful to our culture that we grew up having.
Yes.
Like, that's not something that needed to be taught in a class. That was like, you were born into it. You were thrown into the Soul Train. You had to jump into the line dance. It was part of our lives.
Yes. Yes. The electric slide is
forever
the key component of my life. No, Move Together, which I was able to successfully do for like 3 consecutive years, which I'm hoping to bring back.
We're still waiting to hear some news.
Hopefully. Yeah, I'm hoping to bring it back and just continue, really, like more programs of like teaching people about authentic street dance culture and giving more like light to specific names that have been a big part of like street dance history. So
by big names, do you mean like pioneers of this dance? Like, who have you learned from that has been instrumental in your growth?
Henry Link.
Hey yo.
Elite Force Crew, Light Feet Nation,
New York.
Dance Fusion NYC, which is like Khalif, Ejo. But Link has been a really big part of my journey. Like, Link and I talk, we connect every day. We're always on a phone call, like sometimes not even about dance, like about life. Like, if I'm going through some things, like I cried to him on the phone once, just like about like life and like, you know, struggles and stuff like that. And like every time he always gives me good advice, even outside of dance, within dance, with music. And I respect him so much. Vancouver pioneer Yoshi.
Hey yo.
Yoshi's always been there. He's also a big inspiration of mine because I watched Yoshi Hisanaga from Dancing Stars. I watched Yoshi raise like generations of young kids, and they're amazing.
They're amazing.
And I look at him and I remember I'm pretty sure I've asked him too, like I've asked him for some advice, like, yo, like how do you like make pieces like this, or like how do you choreograph things, or like and sometimes I just come early, like, because we teach at the same studio. Sometimes I come an hour early just to like watch him teach. Yeah, because you really learn a lot from just like watching people. Also shout outs to Jerry, of course. Jerry taught me how to bounce. Yeah, so yeah.
Oh,
Kim Sato as well.
Yeah, you mean Jerry Chin?
Jerry Chin,
Yes.
Jerry Howe.
AKA Papa Jerry now.
Papa Jerry now, yeah.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, Yoshi, all of those people you just named are just like real true heads, you know?
And I've been lucky. I'm so lucky that I got to witness them. Like, I grew up when Yoshi, Jerry, do you remember Aiko from Japan?
No,
Kofi,
Kofi,
I don't know how to pronounce his
from
French name.
Yeah, he's from France. Yeah.
You know, like, I've watched them battle when they were still battling.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people can say they've seen them, you know, like in real action. Like, I've seen them, like Jessie Kim.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was a time where like the same 5 people, like I would see a list of like the signups, and I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to see these people battle each other. Like, and I remember I would be entering and like I wouldn't even think about winning. Like, I would just be like, I want to see these people in the finals and semifinals. It's crazy. So I am really, really lucky that I was in that time. I call it the golden era of Vancouver street dance. Yeah, I was really lucky.
What decades were those, or what years would you even say?
That would be like, I don't know, like before 2010 for sure. Like I would remember 2008 to like 20, I want to say 2015, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I came like towards the tail end of that then, because I moved back to Vancouver in 2013.
Yeah.
But prior to that, before I moved away, which was like 2008, 2009,
Yeah.
like my high school upbringing was seeing people like the Groovy G's. Like
yes.
I lived close to Jameson and Joyce neighborhood, you know?
Oh my gosh, Groovy G's for sure. I wasn't so much in proximity to them, but definitely they were a big part of that time too. Like, Groovy G's was throwing Last One Stands, and Last One Stands, if nobody knows, I actually, like, when I teach at SFU, Last One Stands is always part of the history that I teach, of the Vancouver street dance community history. Last One Stands was something that you looked forward to every year. And I remember it took me 3 years to even make it past prelims.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many years did that run?
I don't know. They were already running before I even entered the scene.
Yeah.
But I remember their last one was like 2016, 20... Was it? Was that the last one?
I think so.
I think he's right, because I remember moving here and it was like the last one.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Even longer time ago. Yeah.
Is there a significant Last One Stands that you remember, or like? Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you remember this, but it was Junior Boogie versus Hurricane.
Hurricane as in the locker?
Hurricane New York.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, that is.
Oh yeah, he locks too. I mean, he does multiple styles.
Well,
but sorry, I don't know him as a locker. I just know him as Hurricane. Period. Yeah.
Was he popping that one?
No, it was a hip hop category.
Oh.
Okay.
It was a hip hop category. It was Junior Boogie from Montreal, Hurricane from New York, and I watched this live, not knowing what was gonna happen. Like, it was neck and neck, and it was such different styles, different approach to hip hop, and Link was judging, I think. Or maybe he was DJing. He was doing one of them.
One one of the 4 elements of
Elite
hip-hop.
Elite Force crew was there, and
Sick.
one member was judging, one member was DJing.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sean's looking it up right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Please look it
Oh
up.
my
We'll
gosh.
post it on the Instagram.
Oh
of this
my
video.
gosh. It was
Yeah.
insane. Junior Boogie versus Hurricane. That was probably one of the best battles I've seen live in my life. And I was just like...
3 words of the impact it left on you. Go.
Ooh. Inspired.
Speechless.
Speechless. Yes, speechless.
Yes.
Stunned. I was stunned. I was like, I watched that video like 1,000 times too. Like,
Did you find it? Is it on the internet, Sean?
I didn't find that specific one, but 2014 was the last.
Okay.
yeah, and they were the
2014 was
finals.
last
So
dance.
they were the finals.
Wow. Street dance history, Vancity.
Best battles in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one, even the popping one? I think it was like Iron Mike versus, and then Salah was there.
So that was in 2014. But do you remember Dino versus Slim Boogie?
Sean is talking about Dino versus
Yes,
Slim
yes,
Boogie.
yes,
That
yes.
was
Yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite.
yeah,
I
yeah,
watched it
yeah.
1,000 times.
Wow.
Yeah. No, yeah. It
Who
was crazy.
organized this?
Um,
Abe
Aben Khan.
Yeah.
Aben
Kwan, yeah.
Okay, Kwan.
Yeah.
Locking Kwan.
You know, they messaged me because I posted on my story, and it was like a shot of like my students back, and they're watching Last One Stands battle, and Locking Kwan messaged me. He's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for like giving light to this." And I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, y'all changed my life!" Like, I was like, I hope somehow, someday, I get to give tribute to this and bring you back into the organizing. Maybe they don't want to do it anymore because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Organizing events is a lot of work. But yeah, that was a proud moment when they messaged me, and I was like, oh my God, you have no idea.
That is amazing. I
Yeah.
wonder where they are now.
Yeah.
Living life.
Kwan's in China, I think.
Okay.
Word.
Sean is saying Kwan is in China. So shout outs to you. And
Shout
what you
outs.
left behind for Vancity.
Honestly,
The impact is felt.
we would not be the same.
Yeah.
We would not be the same.
We
2012 finals.
the 2012
Hurricane and
finals.
Junior Boogie.
Sean, can you
That was 2012?
2012.
That's
Sean,
crazy.
can you share that on our IG? Yeah, we'll post a
Please.
bunch of these. So anyone who feels like going down the YouTube rabbit hole,
Yeah.
we got you.
We were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see
That's
yourself?
so dope. I want to, speaking on this topic, I want to move into talking about more on battle culture,
Yeah.
but also like your experiences now traveling more, representing yourself, entering international battles. Like you just came back from Japan, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
but you also won a significant battle out in Puerto Rico last year, which was so sick.
Yeah.
What do you feel like traveling and battling has taught you
A lot.
about yourself?
Yeah, a lot. In a person, like on a personal level, like I feel like as a human being, I've evolved so much through battling, through losing, mostly. Like, I remember I used to cry if I don't make it past prelims, guys. Like,
It's okay if you cry. Just
I
so you
was
know.
very passionate. And I would get so crazy because I'd be like, I'm way better than that person. I like cry so hard. And over the years, and there was a time when I disappeared from the battle scene because I was like, man, like, what is the point? Like, why am I subjecting myself to this? Like, I know I'm great. Like, I don't need people to tell
judge
me,
me.
to judge me and tell me I'm not good enough, or maybe they don't tell me, but like make myself feel small, you know? So I disappeared for a while, and then I came back because I was reflecting to myself. I was like, okay, like, why am I not going back? Like, is it really because like I'm confidently saying, hey, I don't need anybody to judge me, or is it because I'm scared? And so, you know, I try my best to never move from a place of fear. And so that was a challenge to myself to be like, okay, I want to see how I feel and go back to this, that like, Is it because I'm scared? Is it because I'm insecure that I'm not battling, that I don't want to feel lost and I'm scared to feel rejected? So I challenged myself to do that. And even when I lost, still, like, it didn't feel the same. And I think for me, that was an indication, like, okay, like, I've healed from that. Like, I've grown as a person. Like, I no longer define myself by certain experiences, but rather, like, what I learned from that. And, like, losing battles, whether, you know, for a while, too, there was a time where, like, I would make it to finals and I would never win. And I was like, I called myself like a finals specialist, because I would always somehow knew how to make it to the finals, but I would never win.
That is so annoying.
That is
it's like
the most...
the threshold that you want to cross.
It's more annoying than not making it past prelims. For real. Seriously. And... oh, my gosh. And from that, I think I learned too, and I went to therapy for years. And I've learned tools from therapy.
Shout outs to therapy.
Honestly, everybody needs it. Nothing has to be wrong with you for you to need therapy.
Claro.
For it is just for you to be healthy. I went to therapy and I learned some tools through that, you know, a win is so momentarily. You know, anyone can win any day. But, like, losing to me is just like, I feel like I get stronger every time I lose. You know, it's kind of like doing reps at the gym. Like, the more I do reps, like, the stronger I get, the more I get used to it. And I think, too, like, learning how to love the process more than the outcome is something that I've genuinely enjoyed so much more. Even when it comes to performances. Like, I am so in love with the process more than the outcome, more than the performance and the show and the accolades I get after. It's the process that feeds my soul. It's the, okay, I lost this time. What can I work on? Like, and to me, the idea of, oh my gosh, I have so much more room to grow, that is exciting to me. That I have no ceiling. That because now I'm winning battles, and when I win battles, to be honest with you, like, it's a fleeting feeling. When I won in Puerto Rico, I was telling my partner, I was like, dang, it's so weird. When I lose, I ruminate on it for weeks. Because when I won, everyone was like, oh my God, congratulations. How does it feel? Oh my God, you won. How do you feel? Oh my God, you won.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I won. And it was such a, like, oh yeah, it happened, you know? What's next? And it's so crazy that, like, sometimes I even have to, like, tell myself, like, you can also, like, ruminate on your wins and let it last longer, but to be honest, it doesn't really last that long. You're always on to the next thing and the next thing. It's like, okay, I got over this hurdle. What's next? You know? And I think in your losses, you grow so much more because you get to sit with yourself a lot, and you get to reflect more of, like, okay, why do I feel so horrible about this? And like, why? And it's not about why you shouldn't feel horrible, but it's like, okay, what do you do after?
Yeah.
And in my younger years, somebody told me, it's what you do after the tragedy that really makes the difference.
Yeah.
So I think from that, it's like, okay, what do I do after this loss? Is it going to stop me? Is it enough for me to stop dancing? No. And I also learned that it's so much more when the room thinks you won.
The people's choice, baby.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, okay, I didn't win the competition, but I won the battle. Yeah.
And you won the hearts of the people.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. You know, it's the way you move people, whether you lost or made it far or not. Like, there's times where I don't even make it to top 8.
Yeah.
But, like, kids would come up to me. People would come up to me. Oh, my God, I loved your round so much. I'm so inspired. And, like, to me, that's my win. It's like, dang, you know, there's 7 billion people on Earth, and you thought I changed something in your heart, or that like you thought of me as a compass to like change the direction you want to move into, and that's infinite.
Yes.
That lasts long. That's legacy. And legacy is more than a trophy.
Yeah.
Legacy is forever.
Yeah.
It's way beyond my own lifetime.
Yes.
So yeah, I've learned how to love the losses in the battles.
I love that.
Yeah.
I just want to like sit with everything you just shared, because it was so honest
Yeah.
and potent. And, you know, for anyone who's going to watch this in the playback, especially the young ones coming up in the scene right now, like, there was so much gold in this, and I hope you take it to heart for the next time you enter a battle, or also, like, you don't know how you made other people feel by your round, even if it was just a prelim round, you know, like, that whole philosophy on each one, teach one. It's like, we're always doing that for each other, even from someone who's just born is, like, still teaching us, as vice versa, as we're also teaching them. And that is like, that's the heart and soul of everything.
Of everything. Like, you know, you feel terrible with a loss, ask yourself, like, and I ask my students this too all the time, like, why do you dance in the first place? Do you dance to feel joy, or do you dance to feel seen? Right? If you dance to feel seen, that's a whole different story. But if you dance from a place of joy, why does it matter?
Why does what matter?
Why does losing or winning matter?
Yeah.
You got to dance. Did it feel good?
Yeah.
Did you have fun? And something that my partner, and I love him for this, whatever it is, whatever the outcome of a battle or a round is, he always says, did you have fun?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, that was fun. You know, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter if I lost or not, or if I did well. Did you have fun? I can have my critiques later, you know. But it's like, did you have fun? I'm like, yeah, I did. Yeah. That's all that mattered. So, yeah.
I love that.
And after that, like, you know, dancing from a place of joy, automatically you will be seen.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to be seen, but to be seen for who you are, you know? Not like seen in this way of internet clout or fame or blah,
and
blah,
I
blah.
used to be that kind of battle head. Trust me.
Yeah.
I was like a call out queen. Like, you know, I was very confrontational too, but like I used to be like I'm gonna battle to win. There's no other option. And then, you know, as you mature through life, as you mature through the dance journey, you learn that it's actually not like that. It's actually not about that. It's actually just about having fun in life.
Yes.
Period.
Oof. So good. Salamat.
Thank you.
We're still going for 5 more minutes. I got another question for you.
All right.
And this is actually, it's dope because it's very much so related to, yes, I know. There's a treat happening. I'm saving it for the very end.
Sean's like, eat now.
Sean just wants you to see it because it's, anyways.
Okay.
I'm asking my question first, okay? Yeah, I've been deep in my research for my program right now. I'm in a 10-month experience design certificate program.
Work.
Elevating how I curate and design events. You know, I want to design things from a place of like transformative impact. And I'm entering my summer of lived research right now. And my topic, it's still kind of loose, but it's within the frame of like dance as transformation. And dance as rites of passage.
Yes.
And it's not formally codified necessarily within street and club dance, because these dance cultures evolved from other historic dance cultures. But like, I guess in your own life, my question is like, how is dance transformative?
Wow, a lot. Dance to me is somatic. It's like a prayer. And any time that I felt anything, whether it's sadness or frustration or joy or excitement, I always go back to dance. And dance is connected to music, and music is a vibration. And that vibration is your dance too, right? And so to me, dance has helped me with reflection a lot. And I think reflection, the more you reflect, the more it leads to confidence. too, in the way that you think, the way you see the world, the way you think of the world, the way you would try to understand how the world moves, how you move within the world, and how everybody else move around you. And that's in the sense of, yes, dance, but movement in general, how people walk, how people sit, how people, navigate conversations. And all of it goes back to dance and how we interact with ourselves first, right? Like, when you're dancing and nobody's watching, like, what is it that you're really reflecting on before, during, and after? And so that's why I think, like, also dance helps tune out outside things. You're not focused on anything else but the music and the feeling. And I think as human being, especially in today's age where technology is constantly like information down your throat, you need something that's gonna tune out all of that. So when you're dancing intentionally, with intentions,
that's
set,
the prayer.
Yeah, it helps you reflect. And I think that we don't reflect enough. So I think that in a transformative way, if you have the ability to reflect on what you say, what people say to you, what you give out to the world, what you're receiving from the world, I think the world is a better place.
Oof. Lock it in. That's it. We got it. Oh, that's so sad. This is so good.
Thank you for this platform.
Yes, for being on the show. Now it's time for the treat.
Okay.
And I saved it because it might get messy and it might mess with our lipstick.
And you guys, I am a snack queen. Like, all of my friends know. Like,
I did message your friends for...
Is that why they were asking me, like, what flavor bubble tea
Did you guys ask her? I expected you to know as her best friends.
Somebody asked, well, maybe it's not even, I don't know if it's related to this, but somebody asked them, like, what flavor bubble tea do you get?
Was it Simran?
At 8:21, I was, like, jet lagged still, so I was, like, passed out. I didn't reply till this morning.
That's so
I was like,
funny.
from where? She's like, it doesn't matter. I was like, okay.
I love you. I love you for asking. I appreciate that. It's funny. I asked Josh and I asked Sim, and Josh knew right away.
I was like, just get her cake.
He literally mentioned the word cake. He mentioned mango, which I was like, duh, Filipino mango.
Yeah.
Sim mentioned Oreo.
Oreos.
She mentioned sweets. But
they love me.
I went to a wonderful place. Have you been to La Forêt?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It is an awesome Korean, I want to say, bakery, breakfast spot.
Also amazing cafe with like lots of plantitas around.
Plants, artwork. It's a vibe. Anyway, I went there and I got one of them fancy croissants. And it's a mango something croissant. There's more words to it, but oh my gosh. Oh my, no wonder it's in a big box. Hold up. Look at this. Damn. This is how we're going to end the show with cream stuff all over our face and mango.
Oh my goodness.
And it probably has, here, let me cut it in half and then.
So my friends and I, they say these things. They say these expressions like, do you love me as much as Sophia loves cake? Because that's how much I love
What's your
cake.
favorite kind of cake?
Like coffee flavored cake, because I also I'm a coffee connoisseur.
Oh yeah?
Well, I'm not as much as my partner is, but he really just got me into it.
How do you take your coffee?
Sweet.
She's like, give me the condensed
my color.
milk.
If it's my color, I will drink it.
Or like what is your go-to order for your coffee?
I've salted caramel latte.
Oh, yum.
Depending on how many shots they do, I take extra shot with almond milk.
Oh my god. Okay, let's not go.
No, I was gonna say, give me the smelly pie.
No way. You're the guest. Of course you're gonna get that.
I should get another fork.
I mean, but we're Filipino. I'm just literally gonna kamayan it.
Take it by the hand.
You know what I'm saying? This is how we're gonna end the show.
All right.
Yo, shout outs to everybody who's tuned in.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
Congratulations on your 91st interview.
Yes, we're living, and we still have.
100 more to go. Just
Five
kidding.
more to go, actually.
Okay, 5 more to go.
Yeah, along with episodes on Victoria and Nanaimo. So if anyone knows artists or creatives or food connoisseurs that I should interview, please hit me up on the IG. Yeah, shout out to everyone who's tuned in, who is watching the replay. We appreciate you. We have been broadcasting live on the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, the Squamish First Nations, Bom. And this has been Vancity Beats, Eats, and more! Okay, cheers.
Ay.
Oh no, I need the part with the mango. Sige na. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Yikes. I just ate the mango. Where's the green stuff?
I want to say pandan. Let's just make that up.
Oh.
All right, peace.